After wrapping up 2 days of high-level talks between the United States and China, President Trump says he will soon meet with China's President Xi to try and finalize an all-inclusive trade deal that he believes will be life-changing.
If we make the deal with China, you're talking about it'll be a different world for us. We lost $500 billion a year with China for many years. 500 billion, not million, 500 billion. We're not going to do that anymore. Our relationship with China is extraordinary. My relationship with President Xi is better, I guarantee, than any relationship of a president and a president.
While these latest talks have helped move things along, the White House does warn that its tariff increase on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods was, quote, a hard deadline if no agreement is reached by March 1st. So what needs to happen to seal the deal? Joining me now, Independent Women's Foreign Policy Director Hadley Heath Manning. I got to tell you, President Trump has seemed very, very excited about this, like he almost can't contain his excitement. By the same token, we've seen nothing but positive overtures from China over the last couple of weeks as well. I mean, do you feel like this is maybe we're getting too optimistic right now?
You know, interestingly, earlier this week, the Director of National Intelligence offered a worldwide threat assessment that is intended to tell lawmakers, particularly senators, about threats that we face around the world. And the Chinese are featured heavily. You know, we see that the Chinese and the United States have a strained relationship for a lot of reasons. And that's one of the reasons why a trade deal is so difficult. Even beyond, you know, the signing of any deal with the Chinese, we want to make sure that they are making good on whatever deals that they agree to. And certainly, you know, free trade is a priority for some of the president's advisors, like Larry Kudlow. And I agree with him that free trade can be mutually beneficial. Certainly, the Chinese-U.S. trade relationship, we're talking big money, we're talking big dollars there. But it's not really free trade if both partners aren't working in good faith. And I think that's what President Trump is working to do here, trying to take a tougher stance towards China, certainly a tougher stance than his predecessor, and really hold them accountable, hopefully more accountable when it comes to property rights and acting in good faith towards the United States.
Well, we are talking potentially the largest trade deal in the history of mankind. I mean, we're talking China already offering to buy $1 trillion worth of goods to bring down the trade deficit to zero by 2024. And President Trump, in my mind, Hadley, said something very intriguing yesterday when he talked about being able to verify this deal and be able to check on it on both sides. He took one of the big rebuttals I heard from China about 3 weeks ago, the idea that, hey, we want to be able to verify that they're following through. They said they want to do the same, and President Trump agreed yesterday in the White House.
Well, you know what ultimately President Trump has done to put the United States in such a strong negotiating position with China, whether it's verification or any other aspect of this trade deal, is that he has helped to foster an economic policy climate in the United States where our businesses can do well and where our GDP is strong, where our labor market is strong. You've talked earlier in your show about the surge in manufacturing in the United States. So certainly in terms of making us an attractive trade partner for China and for the rest of the countries in the world, the president and others who have helped him bring tax reform and deregulation to the forefront of his economic agenda are doing the United States a big favor when it comes to trade.
Do you think, and we've got less than a minute to go, but do you think perhaps we could even have a deal before March 1st? All the experts say no. Again, President Trump hinting that it's possible.
Well, you know, I certainly respect the president's optimism, and I know that he and others are working very hard towards a deal. I'm not optimistic about a March 1st timeline, but I always say it's better to have a good deal than a fast